you? I feel like this shirt is gonna give me some trouble today, but I wanted to wear something extra sparkly because I want to show off my excitement. We had one hell of a week. So one of the things that I really like about all of the season 3 remakes is that they have their own identity more so than with the season 1 remakes. I find it a lot more fun to look at parallels and similarities between the different remakes and between the original when they're doing their own thing. So one random thing that I noticed in the last clip, we have Matteo at the party. He's wearing like a snapback like what Isak wore all the fucking time. In Scum Italia, Giovanni sleeps over after the first party, and I thought that was interesting that that doesn't happen in the original, but it happens in Scum Italia and in Druck. In the last clip of Druck on Friday, it starts playing this music and I was like, wait, what the hell? Why are they playing this song again? Didn't they just play this at the party in the first episode? And then I remembered, no, I haven't heard this song on this show before. I heard this song on Scum Italia. Maybe it's because our boy Luigi has Italian roots that they have those two things in common. Also, after Luca and Elliot have sex in the foyer with the paint and all of that, the next day Matteo wakes up and he has his shirt with like paint splatter print on it. And then also in this episode at the party, he has a t-shirt with some paint on it, and we see that again the next morning, which is technically episode 4, but I watched it already. Yeah, so definitely think that it's very fun and interesting to look at similarities when they are doing things so differently, but it's also interesting to look at differences even when they take something from the original. So I talked about my issues with the original version of this scene when I made my last video on Scum France, and I talked about internalized homophobia, etc, etc. However, when German Yonas calls out Matteo, he says, since when do we make fun of gay guys? And I really like that because that was something that original Yonas couldn't say. He asked, why are you dissing that guy for being gay? I didn't like that because it felt very hypocritical, because Yonas dissed Isak for being gay, Elias dissed Isak for being gay right in front of Yonas, and Yonas didn't say anything. Madi calls Isak gay right in front of Yonas. Yonas says nothing. So didn't like that other people get to call Isak gay, but as soon as he repeats what he thinks is culturally acceptable within that friend group, suddenly Yonas decides to get on his high horse. But with German Yonas, there was that one line in episode 2 of season 1 when he repeats what the original Yonas says of, oh, you like gay songs, but I read that completely differently than how I saw the original scene, because he was like very fake flirty with Matteo, and then afterwards Yonas fucking serenades Matteo.
Oh, won't you stay with me, 'cause you're all I need.
He turns his body away from his girlfriend, faces Matteo, and sings this romantic song. I couldn't not ship them, you know, I couldn't not ship them after that, even though, of course, I've switched allegiance and now ship Matteo 100% with David. But anyway, Matteo realized that he sounded like an asshole, and there was no way to get out of this conversation without acknowledging that he sounded like an asshole, so he just said that that came out wrong. And then later that day, he texted Yonas apologizing for what he said, and then Yonas said, it's okay, I understand that you're not an asshole. And also in that text message, he realized that he had in fact seen Beanie Boy before. And speaking of Beanie Boy, I noticed last week something a little bit different about our boy. He fucking goes to school regularly. It's like Matteo sees him, what, 3-4 times in an episode? What the fuck? I've been blessed by his presence I think that there's like this interesting juxtaposition between Matteo being pressured into doing something that he doesn't want to do versus him like actively seeking out David. So with the party, it's very clear that he is not interested in throwing a party, but as soon as it becomes clear the party's happening at his place, he walks himself over to David and asks David to come. He doesn't seem to like parties that much anyway, but even though it's not something that he wants to have it with David. So I briefly touched on the topic of like Sarah and the whole sex issue last week. So I just want to make it clear about Sarah. I do not think for a moment that she's a bad person. I don't think that she's like this manipulative, conniving girl who wants to use her family tragedy to get into Matteo's pants. I just want to make that very clear. But we'll say about Matteo and Sarah's relationship. When I was first introduced to it, I thought it was so funny how Matteo was very transparent, very much not interested in being with her. And then whenever they would kiss, he would give her the closed mouth. And I thought it was so funny up until we got this scene in the last episode. She asks if he can distract her. He asks, what do you need distracting from? So trying to change the subject. And then she asks him again. His head is down. He's not engaging with her in that way. And then that's when she starts to kiss him. And then when she touches him, I felt so bad for him. And then also when we had Carlos talking about Kiki and how she was mad at him because he didn't have sex with her. I'm sure you guys all know more about the whole Carlos and Kiki situation than I do. I just am not, I don't ship it. I don't. Based on what I've seen, Carlos deserves better. So my viewpoint on that is this. I think that a lot of couples, they feel pressure to please their partner and they don't want to deny their partner sex. So they might like maybe reluctantly agree to have sex or pull away or make really bad excuses. And I think that if you're in that situation, if you try to initiate sex and your partner like tries to talk about something else, tries to like derail whatever sex is gonna happen or make really bad excuses, maybe they have a headache, whatever the fuck, I say just let them. Don't like try to reinitiate it. Okay, to bring all of that into this episode, Sarah just announces that she already told her mom that she was gonna sleep over. And listen, he was not interested in having sex with you on that day. And on the day you guys were planning on having sex, he bailed. He made some weak ass excuse. I really wish that you would just connect the dots that it's possible for a guy not to be ready. Of course, we know that he doesn't want to have sex with her because he's gay. But even if he wasn't gay, I feel like there's this big misconception with sex that guys just, as soon as puberty hits, they're emotionally and physically ready to have sex. A guy can not be ready for sex yet. It's not just the girls who have to be ready, you know? And then at the party, we have the dancing, Matteo dancing in a very, very uncomfortable way. And that new guy, Andy, not registering that discomfort, getting way too close to him, putting hands on him. I totally understand why Matteo just left. And in contrast to all of that, when the almost kiss happened with David, of course I was upset that
Aber du hast gelogen!
Ja, weil man es dir nicht recht machen kann. Was glotzt ihr?
we'll circle back to that. I like how slow it was because I think that David was able to register that Matteo was not feeling well at all and he might not be ready for a kiss. So I like that David leaned in very slowly. He gave Matteo plenty of time to draw away if Matteo was too freaked out or was uninterested or just didn't want it. I really like this idea of like just not assuming the other person wants a kiss, asking for a kiss, either like verbally asking, can I kiss you, or asking non-verbally as David did. I just thought that that was very romantic romantic, and I think that like kind of counts as their first kiss because their lips were fucking touching. Their lips were touching. I think it's very interesting how like just seeing David with a girl completely destroyed Matteo. He's the one who has a girlfriend. He's the one who was planning on having sex with her. He decided to have sex with her just because he saw David interact with Leonie. Before, when he saw Leonie try to talk to David just walked away. It was very, very, very clear that he was uninterested in this. But as soon as he sees the hug, he's like, it's all over now. I shouldn't even try. And I think that that's a very interesting contrast to how he was with Yonas, because when he had a crush on Yonas, we got him betraying Hannah. And then when he walks in on Yonas and Hannah almost having sex, he doesn't say sorry and run away like all of the other Isaks did. He just stays there, tells Yonas to come and make him some coffee. Like, he actively prevents the sex from happening. But I think it's so interesting that he was able to do all of that with Yonas when Yonas very clearly had a girlfriend. But then when he thinks that the guy that he likes might be interested in another girl or might have a girlfriend, it's all over. He's not even gonna try. He's not even gonna talk to David for the whole party. And David was just such a sweetheart. Like, when they were at their lockers, Matteo mentioned that he got in trouble for how the kitchen looked. And then David, he stays, he tells Matteo that he looks good and he helps clean up. And Laura asked about the cleaning roster, so I'm wondering if David talked to Laura about his crush on Matteo and about how they left the kitchen in such a disaster. I wonder if she knows about Sarah. I really liked how Matteo was very vulnerable when he just said, I didn't know you had a girlfriend. And he looked so relieved, like he didn't even look embarrassed, like, oh, now he knows I have a crush on him. I was definitely expecting David to then turn around and call him out and say, well, I don't have a girlfriend, but don't you have a girlfriend? Hey, I know her. We have PE together. You kissed her in front of me. I do wonder if in the future, if David is gonna push Matteo to break up with Sarah or come clean with Sarah, or if like he'll want to give him that space. I don't know. It's a sticky situation because you shouldn't get involved with somebody who has a girlfriend, but I understand not wanting to push him to come out of the closet. But I feel like I've been wrong in so many of my other predictions. Earlier in this week, I just woke up in the middle of the night like absolutely certain, if nothing else, this one thing would happen on Friday, and it didn't happen. In the original version of Scum, Evan talks to Isak about how he can't break up with Sonia, and then he said, well, I could have joked about her having a dick, but that would have been going way too far. I thought that for sure Matteo would make a joke like that, and that it would be received completely differently considering that David is trans. But he didn't say that, and I'm glad. I do still wonder if Matteo is going to say something transphobic rather than ableist. But then again, David is such a sweet guy, but I think that maybe he might say something that might push Matteo to break up with him or cheat on him. I don't know. Considering what we saw of Matteo at the party, I think he's going to be the one that has the mental health crisis. I was wondering if like David being transgender, if that's like something that they're gonna swap with the bipolar storyline, but they could just put the bipolar storyline on Matteo. And then what I would like, hopefully, is that David just happens to be trans and that it hopefully isn't a big plot point. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. This is, of the remakes that air, this is the one that I watch first. This is the one that I watch over and over and over again. I'm loving season 3 of Druck and very much would welcome your comments on this season. What do you think? And feel free to talk about any other parallels that you might have noticed that I missed. Again, I do really like the whole hat thing. I think it's very cute. And I think that this soundtrack is fucking awesome. I had to get a Spotify account just so that I could like view the full Spotify list. And tell me what else you guys like. What are you guys excited for? I'll see you when I see you. Bye.